As Coca-Cola facing some pretty harsh criticism for continuing its operations in Russia over the weekend, the hashtag boycott Coca-Cola was actually trending on Twitter. This morning, many calling for the Atlanta-based company to pull its products because of Russia's attack on Ukraine. Multiple Ukrainian supermarkets are now saying that they're going to keep Coca-Cola products from their store shelves as long as the company continues to do business with Russia. Just last week, Coca-Cola donated $1 million directly to the Red Cross operating in Ukraine.
Hi and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. In today's video we're going to have a look at why Russia is still being supplied by the likes of Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola. So many different companies have pulled products, pulled lines, pulled service agreements. The banks are no longer operating with them. I think Ford of America no longer supplies vehicles or parts. I know that Daimler, the owners ultimately of Mercedes-Benz, are no longer supplying lorries, trucks, or maintenance parts, servicing, things like that. Volvo also have pulled out, so you've got that. There's across the board, it's not just car people, it's across the board. Many industries have declined to continue any kind of trade or dealing with Russia until such time as this conflict ends. And for some of them, it's they're saying that it's not just the ending of the conflict. Full reparations have to be made. So there's a lot of things that are no longer happening in Russia that used to. But it's okay because you can still get a Coke, you can still get a Pepsi. And as that piece at the beginning there just showed, there's no sign yet of Coke doing anything to stop it. They made a virtue signal of giving money to the Red Cross, but that's fairly neutral. That's not actually picking a side, and presumably they think there's more money to be made in supplying Coke to Russia than in making a moral stance. I think they could be wrong, because there's now calls worldwide to boycott it. And I think that they'll lose far more money from any kind of boycott than they would by selling to Russia. So there's a couple of pieces. I mean, both sides of the pond, actually. I'm looking at one from Britain and one from the United States. But we'll have a look at these. They're both calling for the same thing. But we can examine them in depth. But it's just telling that actually an American paper is calling for an American company to be boycotted. And given how normally patriotic, should we say, the press in America would be for its own country, I think that it's quite telling that Coke are quite definitely on the wrong side of history on this one. But I'll zip down into my usual little corner down here, and we'll have a look. So here we have, this is the Mail, and it is hashtag boycott Coca-Cola. Dragon's Den star Deborah Meaden leads call to stop buying Coca-Cola as it continues to operate inside Russia despite Putin's invasion, as Ukrainian supermarkets remove it from shelves in protest. For Americans, let's just say that Dragon's Den is the same format show as your Shark Tank. Rich people one side, people looking for investment on the other. And Deborah Meaden is one of our sharks, as you would call them, our dragons. Anyway, public pressure is increasing and urging people to boycott Coca-Cola products. Firm remains silent on Russian invasion of Ukraine, despite others taking a stand. The distribution company in Russia claims operations are continuing as normal. I think that this is what I was mentioning earlier. Many other companies are taking a stand, and it's quite telling that Coke aren't. But you have to question why. Is it greed? I think it probably is. I don't think they've read the mood. But anyway, calls are growing for people to boycott Coca-Cola as they have yet to pull operations out of Russia despite Putin's invasion of Ukraine entering its 12th day. Trends on Twitter, including hashtag boycott Coca-Cola, surfaced over the weekend as it emerged the company, which has 10 bottling plants in Russia, is not making any changes to operations following the outbreak of war in Ukraine. Now, I think this is appalling. I think they should, but, what can I do? But, coming down a little bit. Since Moscow ordered forces to invade Ukraine, a number of international brands, including tech firms and fashion labels, have ceased trading in Russia amid a great cancellation of Vladimir Putin. This includes firms such as Samsung, PayPal, MasterCard and Visa, as well as high street brands such as Zara, Under Armour and IKEA, which have all sought to take a stand against the Russian invasion of Ukraine. In total, more than £100 billion, so you're looking about $125 billion US, of trade ties have already been severed with increasingly isolated nation and with no sign of the ever-largening embargo set to lose momentum. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. And with the lack of, as mentioned, the lack of car parts and lorry parts, things like that, their infrastructure will start to break down. He's bitten off more than he can chew. I think the trouble is he now cannot be seen to lose, because he knows if he's seen to lose, he's finished not just at home domestically, but finished on the world stage. And the way he's gone, I think he also knows that, how can we put this? I'm going to do an aside. It is standard that world leaders have a level of impunity, authority and freedom from prosecution, which is why so many of them sort of go into exile and things. There are times when that freedom or immunity is no longer allowed, particularly war crimes. And I think that Putin is now fearing that he's got into war crimes territory, which means he won't be able to just slope off afterwards, slink off, hide, lick his wounds in some, tropical paradise with 200 billion in the bank. No, I think he's going to be held up accountable, and if he's lucky, he'll go to The Hague, and if he's unlucky, the Russians will do it. But despite public pressure to follow suit, several global brands have stayed silent on the issue, including Coca-Cola, Pepsi and McDonald's. Well, I think I am definitely going to not buy the products from those three companies, simply because you have to make a moral stand. I can live without a Big Mac, you know that. The thing is, the board of directors at McDonald's can't live without a Big Mac. And if we all said, right, for 1 week, nobody is going to go to McDonald's for a week, and then say, if you pull out of Russia, we'll go back, you can guarantee they'll pull out of Russia. And that's one part of the story. So I'm just going to shift across now to here, the Washington Examiner. So this is the other side. This is the American view. And again, it's calls to boycott Coca-Cola grow after company refuses to pull out of Russia. They're a bit more forthright in their headline, aren't they? Calls to boycott Coca-Cola products reached a fever pitch Friday afternoon as the beverage company reportedly signalled it would continue doing business in Russia amid the invasion of Ukraine, as mentioned before. And then it's going on, and it's saying that the shelves are being removed, Coca-Cola is being removed from the shelves of supermarkets in Ukraine, and I presume Pepsi as well. So the shameless company, they're calling them shameless. This shameless company continues to work for the invaders in full strength, the Ukrainian supermarket chain Nova said in a statement. Western corporations flee Russia en masse, citing sanctions and a moral imperative. Anyway, Russia's state-owned news agency TASS reported late Thursday that the Coca-Cola Hellenic Bottle Company, the bottling company with exclusive rights to distribute Coca-Cola products in Russia and 28 other countries, had no plans to cease operations in Russia. Some critics contrasted Coca-Cola's posture towards Russia with its forceful condemnation of the US state of Georgia in March 2021 after its governor, Brian Kemp, signed voting reform legislation into law. Yes, so Coca-Cola can be political when they want. Coca-Cola CEO James Quincy went on national television and called the Georgia legislation unacceptable and a step backward, adding that this legislation is wrong and needs to be remedied, and we will continue to advocate for it both in private and even more clearly in public. And while Coca-Cola did issue a statement Thursday offering monetary support for the humanitarian relief efforts in Ukraine amid the invasion, the statement did not offer any condemnation of Russia or Russian President Vladimir Putin. So BP taking a moral stand and biting the bullet for the sum of 25 billion, and Coke won't. Tells you a lot about the morals at the head of Coca-Cola. They are a firm of sharks. They are a firm of grasping, inhuman, despicable people. Anyway, there's more there, which we'll draw a veil on that now. But I just wanted to highlight the fact that Coke are still supplying. But in fact, it's not just Coke. Pepsi are also supplying, as mentioned, and McDonald's. So I think all three really need to be boycotted. But I'll come up and we'll round off this video. So you have all these large corporations, many of whom are willing to take a moral stance, do the right thing, give up profit because they know it's the right thing to do. And they know that should they not do it, they will be seen as being despicable, and that people will kick back against them. And then there's those corporations that won't do the right thing. Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, McDonald's. They like to be seen in a good light. They like to be popular. They want to have an appearance of friendliness. They want to be constantly in your mind, so that when you are thirsty, your first thought will be a Pepsi, it'll be a Coca-Cola. If you're hungry, your first thought will be a McDonald's. Actually, now, what my first thought will be, despicable, horrible people running a grasping corporation that's profiting from suffering. And as I mentioned earlier, I shall no longer be buying any of their products. McDonald's can go screw themselves, Coke can go screw themselves, Pepsi can go screw themselves. Other products are available, ones that are less morally dubious. Anyway, if you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button below and ring the bell for notifications for new content. Leave a like and leave a comment. We respond to all comments. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.